اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا إنك سميع مجيب الدعاء. اللهم إني أعوذ بك من علم لا ينفع وقلب لا يخشع ونفس لا تشبع ودعاء لا يسمع. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي يا ربي آمين. So today we're going to continue the stories of the Quran, and we're going to continue the part 2 of the story of Sayyidina Musa. In fact, I started with part 3 last week simply because of the day, because it was Ashura. And there, we have to always, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks us to celebrate a certain day, a certain month, a certain time, it always helps us when we understand the hikmah, the wisdom behind it. And that's why I started from the time Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved Sayyidina Musa from Pharaoh and actually made Pharaoh drown. But today I'm going to go back to the life of Sayyidina Musa before he became a prophet. And interestingly, when you look at the Quran, especially, mashallah, most of you are studying the Quran one way or the other. The most common story in the Quran, the most detailed story in the Quran, the most frequent prophet mentioned in the Quran is Sayyidina Musa. It's very interesting. If you look, just go whenever you have time and just do certain search and look which prophet Allah talked about his birth in the Quran. There's only 2. His birth. There's only 2. Sayyidina Isa actually during the delivery, but Sayyidina Musa actually his childhood. Then which prophet before he became prophet? Allah discussed his life before he became a prophet. Even Sayyidina Yusuf, he became a prophet and Allah discussed his difficulties. Which prophet Allah talked about his marriage in the Quran? Sayyidina Musa. Right? And I'm going to come to this. Which prophet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about his life after he got married, right? And then just as he is going, and then he will become a prophet. So he left his town and went to another town. And then he got married in that town. And then he did things, worked hard for 8 or 10 years. And then he became prophet, Sayyidina Musa. And it's interesting when you look at the story, and there's a hadith of Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, which may give us little bit indication why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used or mentioned Sayyidina Musa more than anyone else. And whenever Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam used to get hurt, prosecuted, humiliated by the non-believer, he used to say, my brother Moses, so way worse than this. And he was patient. So I'm going to be patient. So as if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showing us that Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam took Sayyidina Musa as an example. What about us? This is one of the hikmah. I mean, there's a lot of wisdom why the story of the Musa with his people repeated in the Quran. Which prophet had a brother? And the brother mentioned in the Quran more than one time, Musa alayhi salam. Which prophet had a long dialogue with his people, very long, repeatedly? Musa. And then you can think of Sayyidina Nuh, and you can think of the other. Sayyidina Musa in detail, what happened. So there is way more emphasis, and this is something when you talk to the non-believers or non-Muslims, and especially when you talk to the Jews, and when you say, you know what, Moses to us is probably as dear as he is to you, if not even more, and part of my belief and religion, and I am not a Muslim if I don't believe in Sayyidina Musa, if I don't believe in Sayyidina Isa, and all. So the story, which part of the Quran, or the chapter in the Quran, which talked about his birth, all the way till he became a prophet, and quickly Allah mentioned the drowning of Fir'aun, is in Surah Al-Qasas, the stories. And the chapter is 28. More than 40 ayat. More than half of the chapter is about Sayyidina Musa. And as always, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is something also we learn from the Quran, that Allah give us like a summary. In medical field, we call it abstract. When you present a paper in medical field, you don't go to the details first. First, you give abstract. So what I'm gonna learn and what's the conclusion? And then they go to the detail, how did they do the study? Some of you may be familiar with this. In the Quran, in the story of Sayyidina Musa, in Surah Al-Qasas, that's what Allah started with. Gave us an overall idea. Meaning, Musa was from the children of Israel. Who was his great-grandfather? Great-great-great-father? Yaqub, Sayyidina Yaqub. And his great-great-great-grandfather is Sayyidina Ibrahim. So that's why if you look, Sayyidina Ibrahim is so dear to us, and it's also highly respected and dear to the Jews because we share the two children, Ismail and Yaqub. Yaqub is where the Jews came from, and the Yaqub and the Ismail is where we are from, the Arabs especially, and the Muslims. Yeah, Yaqub is Ishaq, and then Yaqub, and then from that part, Sayyidina Musa came in. So number one, he was Jewish. He was from the children of Bani Israel. In the beginning of Surah Al-Qasas, Allah says the following, right? The meaning of, and Musa was from the people of Fir'aun. And he said in the beginning, I'm going to tell you the story. This is how Allah started. I'm going to tell you the story of Musa and Fir'aun, the true story. The true story to people who are the believers. So the believers, when they listen to this story, they will learn. And then summary: Fir'aun was a tyrant, and then he really tortured his people, killed the boys, and then let the woman live. And then we wanted to give the weak people victory. This is done. And then starts the start of, and this part of the story apply to every human being. This is why I love, especially in Surah Al-Qasas. If you are a mother, Surah Al-Qasas absolutely talks to you. The part of the story of Sayyidina Musa talk to you. If you are a mother who is going through a difficult time because of a loss of a child, that's absolutely this part of Surah Al-Qasas is talking to you. This part of the story of Sayyidina Musa. If you are a woman who never had children, then that part of the story of Sayyidina Musa talks to you. If you are a woman who your child get lost, whether lost physically or whether get lost in dunya, the hope in that part of Surah Al-Qasas. Then it comes and talks to every young man, young youth, strong, smart, power, and knowledge. And Allah teaches you and me, of course, that how this can be a test for you and a test for me. Then he shows me, I'm giving you the highlight, and then he shows me the best way when I make a mistake. Meaning all of us can make mistakes, but what is the best way to handle a mistake? Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells you, I can save you, and I have my ways of saving you, and I have my ways of bringing you back. And then Allah tells you, when you rely on Him completely, and you keep making dua, supplication in every step, you are going to go through the difficulty. You have to go through the difficulty. The story of Sayyidina Musa teaches that you have to go through the difficulty. And when I was reading this, and I was like, Subhanallah, Allah is capable. He could have right away put Fir'aun drown in the sea, right? He could have easily saved Musa alayhi salam without all these details, but he's teaching me and you. That's why it is very important for us to study this story. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if I rely on Him and I have full faith in Him, He'll save me and He will give me the best. And today I will stop till He left Jordan. He was born where? Which part of this earth? Egypt. So he was born in Egypt, and he's one of the prophets who moved. He moved. So he was born in Egypt, born as a baby, but he was born in a time, not the best time to be born. Let's put it this way. So Fir'aun, and there's a story, is two narration on this. Either Fir'aun saw a dream, or one of his assistants and one of his advisors saw a dream that there is a boy is going to be born in this town, and your parish and your death will be because of that boy. And then, of course, imagine you're the tyrant, you own protect. So he said, that's it. Every boy that's being born, that's gonna be born, is gonna be dead. And that's why Allah repeated this in the Quran. يُذَبِّحُ أَبْنَاءَهُم وَيَسْتَحْيِي نِسَاءَهُم. He kills the sons and leaves the girls to live. Then the assistants of Fir'aun came to him and says, this is not going to work for us. Because the boys of the children of Israel, they used to work for Fir'aun. They used to work in the jobs that nobody else. Because in Egypt, there were the Jews and there were the Christians, the Coptic. So the Jews were absolutely prosecuted by Pharaoh. And he used to use them, work for him for free, for minimal. So his assistant came and says, you are killing all these boys. Soon we will have no one to work for you. So he changed the law. See how people change the law according to what is beneficial, not what is fair. He said, okay, so 1 year, we're going to let them live. And 1 year, we will kill them. So the year that he let them live was Sayyidina Harun when he was born. So he had no problem. Next year, she got pregnant. Now this is the year that the boys will be killed. So she delivered, didn't tell anyone. She was breastfeeding, didn't tell anyone. But as he became a little bit older, and they say about 3 to 4 months, his voice, people start hearing his voice. And she was so worried, that's it. Pharaoh will kill him. Now look at this ayah, in this story. He said, وَأَوْحَيْنَا, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَىٰ أُمِّ مُوسَى أَنْ أَرْضِعِيهِ فَإِذَا خِفْتِ عَلَيْهِ فَأَلْقِيهِ فِي الْيَمِّ وَلَا تَخَافِي وَلَا تَحْزَنِي إِنَّا رَادُّوهُ إِلَيْكِ وَجَاعِلُوهُ مِنَ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. I'm going to translate. We actually gave like a revelation. We suggested, this is Allah. We suggested to the mother of Musa, no name. No name. It doesn't matter who is she. That's lesson to you and me. To Ummi Musa, breastfeed him. So that's an order. فَإِذَا خِفْتِ عَلَيْهِ فَأَلْقِيهِ فِي الْيَمِّ. Throw him in the river. Second order. وَلَا تَخَافِي وَلَا تَحْزَنِي. Don't be sad, don't worry. Now you're talking about 4 months old baby, thrown in a basket in the river. Any mother can do this? No way. If someone take the baby from you, sometimes even your friend, right? And you're not very comfortable with that person, you're so uncomfortable. لا تخافي ولا تحزني. Allah is saying to her, don't be afraid, don't be sad. So 2 news. إِنَّا رَادُّوهُ إِلَيْكِ. This is a promise from Allah. We are giving him back to you. وَجَاعِلُوهُ مِنَ الْمُرْسَلِينَ. And he's going to be a prophet. So there is 2 orders, 2 news, and 2 promises. But it's all in the to come. It's all not in the scene. Now, how did Allah talk to her? Exactly. She's not a prophet. Her son is Kareemullah. Sayyidina Musa is the one Allah talked to. How did? And this is also a good lesson for you and me. They say when you want Allah to show you the way, Allah wants you to show the way, He will throw it in your heart what to do. So awhayna here is not we gave her a revelation. It's the same word in Arabic, but Allah did not, no one talked to Allah except Sayyidina Musa directly. But Allah threw in her heart a way out of the problem, because this was a general problem. So here you are, I have an exam and I want to have a car, for example. How I'm going to go? And then suddenly you say, you know what? I don't know how I thought about it, but Allah made me remember this person. She one day says, anytime you need a car, I'm going to come and pick you up. This is how it is. Now remember, this is not a car. This is throw your child. And if you read, she put him in a basket. And the river is the Nile in Egypt. So she put him in a basket close to the bank of the river, and told his sister, walk as the basket is moving. So follow the basket. Can you feel this? SubhanAllah, when I was reading this, was like, Ya Allah. So the basket was moving. Allah ordered the Nile to be too quiet. So the basket goes very gently. And then the sister is walking with him. Where does the basket goes? to the bank across from Pharaoh's palace. La ilaha illallah. When we say Allah ala kulli shay'in qadir, and this is one of the lessons we learn, Allah is capable of putting things beyond your imagination, give you things so impossible but became possible. So who picked him up? And there was 3 stories about it. Remember, these are all what the mufassirin, what the scholars have commented. And one scholar says it's the wife of Fir'aun. She was walking there and she saw the basket and it's a baby, picked him up. And the others say, no, it was her assistants, the people who served her. They happened to be close to the bank and picked her up. The third story, they say it's Fir'aun himself who saw him. It's not, I'm sorry, Fir'aun. Fir'aun's assistant saw him. It doesn't matter. As Imam al-Tabari said, it doesn't matter who picked him up. Because that's not what Allah wants me to focus on. Allah wants me to focus on, he was picked. Right? And Allah here says, this is all in Surah Al-Qasas, this is ayah probably 6 or 7. فَالْتَقَطَهُ آلُ فِرْعَوْنَ. The people of Fir'aun picked him up. They took him. They didn't kill him. Why they didn't kill him? You know, when you drive and then the car was about to hit you and then it didn't hit you, and why it didn't hit you? Right? That's the qadr of Allah. This is the decree of Allah and it has khair. Of course, we don't pay attention. We say, you know what? I was about to get a car accident. I was lucky. This is how we say it. As Muslims, I shouldn't say I was lucky. I was like, Ya Allah, Allah saved me. And also he showed me, because that's exactly the story of Sayyidina Musa. Allah saved him, but he didn't just save him. He saved him for you and me to learn. That's how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put things in place to reach a goal. So don't say how. I always say this to myself. How is not my job. How is not my ability or capability. How is Allah? Ala kulli shay'in qadir. So she picked him up. And they said the moment this wife of Fir'aun picked him up, she started crying. She had no children and she always wanted a boy. So Allah brought him to her. She picked him up. And the ayah says, قُرَّةُ عَيْنٍ لِي وَلَكْ لَا تَقْتُلُوهُ. He can be the coolness of my eyes and you to Fir'aun. Don't kill him. And they say Fir'aun said, it's a coolness of your eyes, not mine. But I'm not going to kill him. Subhanallah. Yeah, because that's exactly the ayah. لا تقتلوا. Don't kill him. قرة عين. It's a coolness of the eye. So his heart little bit softened for his wife and says, okay, I'm not going to kill him. Keep him. Now, what is the problem now? Don't forget the mother of Musa. She was breastfeeding, right? And Allah right away say another ayah, which is so touchy. And look at what he said. He said, وَأَصْبَحَ فُؤَادُ أُمِّ مُوسَى فَارِغًا. The heart of the mother of Musa became empty. Meaning, when you say empty, what is it? It's not empty, right? On the contrary, you are very sad and you are thinking of many things, but empty from the most important thing I loved, فَارِغًا. That's exactly the word, empty. He said empty. إِن كَادَتْ لَتُبْدِي بِهِ. She almost about, through her action, to declare that this is her son. Now the word that every woman has to memorize. لَوْلَا أَن رَبَطْنَا عَلَى قَلْبِهَا. We tight around her heart. We like made a knot, translation, around her heart. It's a figure of speech meaning, we made you strong. So always I say this dua to any woman where she misses her child for whatever the reason, moved to a college, may Allah protect the children, he got sick, she lost him, and I say make the dua of Musa. Inna radduhu ilayki. We're going to send him back to you. And Allah kept her heart strong. To litakuna min al-mu'minin. This is a very nice way. Why, Ya Allah? Why it became empty and then you made it strong? لِتَكُونَ مِنَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Tests make us strong. Should make us much stronger. And how do I know the strength of my iman? Is when I go through difficulty. Sometimes you will be so surprised. How did I go through this? how did I learn this? How could I continue doing this? And I am so composed. We all go through this, and sometimes you'll be so surprised. Now, next lesson, and it's the next ayah. وقالت لأخته قصيه. She starts planning. I miss my child. I want my child back. And so she said to his sister, follow him. Follow him, go close to the palace and see what's happening. Of course, this is all the plan of Allah to bring her back, but He didn't bring her back right away. Why? That's how Allah operates. He wants to see what you have for Him, how much you're willing to give for Him, how much faith you have in Him that He will fulfill His promise. For us, especially these days, we want things very quickly. We lack patience, all of us, because the way we live, lack patience. We cannot sit for 1 hour for lecture. We cannot study one hour, let alone go through the difficulties of life. We want it very quickly. Allah, no, Allah taught the mother of Musa, I'll bring him back to you, but it's through my way. So what did Allah do, the plan of Allah? Probably most of you are familiar with this. No breastfeeding. He refused every woman, the wife of Fir'aun did not breastfeed. So they brought him from the city. All these, they call them wet mothers, meaning they have a lot of milk. And he rejected the breast. Till the point he was crying all day. And Fir'aun was carrying him. Imagine your child. He has colic or she has colic or hungry, right? How do you know your child is hungry? Starts crying. The moment you put the bottle or you put him on the breast, done. So Fir'aun was carrying him, and the sister found it as an opportunity. And she gets close to him and says, I know a woman who he will take her breast. Of course, when you are in need and the baby is crying, what are your responses? Get her. Absolutely. So she came, the mother of Fir'aun, and the mother of Sayyidina Musa. Didn't say who's she. The moment, of course, she picked him up, he took her breast. So Fir'aun was suspicious and says, who are you? We have called all the women, and he refused right away. And look at the answer. She says, I am a woman who have a lot of milk, and I smell good. And children loves me. She didn't lie. But look at the amazing answer. I am a woman, have a lot of milk, smell good, and children loves me. What can he argue? And now the baby is quiet, and the baby is breastfeeding. And immediately Allah says, هل أدلكم على له ناصحون فرددناه, that's what it is. فرددناه إلى أمه. It's the same word. It's one page. Top of the page when Allah took him from her. And he says, we are giving him back to you. In Arabic, رادوه, same word. Last ayah in the page. فرددناه, same word. We send him back to her. كي تقر عينها. Same word, the wife of Fir'aun said, قرة عين, coolness. So his mother needs to have the coolness. It says, this is his mother. كي تقر عينها. So she will feel in peace and happy. ولا تحزن. Don't be sad. And the third one for every one of us. ولتعلم أن وعد الله حق. ولتعلم. Of course she knows. She obeyed Allah in every step. But this is for every one of us. We need to know that the covenant, the promise of Allah is true. I see it in my life. I don't see it in my life. It's true. And then Allah immediately said, وَلِتَعْلَمَ أَنَّ وَعْدَ اللَّهِ حَقٌّ. So she knows the promise of Allah is true. Unfortunately, أَكْثَرَهُمْ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. That's exactly what Allah said. But majority of them don't know. What do I learn from this page? Now he's a boy, breastfed. His mother actually kept breastfeeding for about 2 years. What do I learn from this as a woman? I'm not the mother of Musa, right? And Allah did not bring her as an example in one page of his book, all his words to tell just a story, right? He could have said any other story. What does this number one teaches me? As a Muslim woman, what does it teaches me? follow the orders of Allah. Because there was 2 orders. He didn't tell her, cover your hair. And we find it very difficult, right? He didn't tell her, don't put any of the things that these days we find it very difficult. He asked her to do something, the most difficult thing that our mother can do. I cannot, wallahi, I can't imagine, and I deliver babies and I see it. I can't imagine a mother will throw her child in the river, right? And it reminds me of who had the same test. Sayyidina Ibrahim. When Allah told him to slaughter your son, but that Sayyidina Ibrahim test was even harder because the son was much older. So lived with him. So number one, the promise of Allah will be fulfilled. But what does He want from me? Obey me. Obey the order, even if the order doesn't make sense. Please forgive me. Order looks very, may Allah forgive us all, unfair. Too difficult. I can't do it. Do it. Because this is what He told her. اقذفيه, throw him. She did. Without arguing. Why me? Why it's not fair? All these questions we all talk about. She did. And what happened? Look at the result. And this did not take long time, by the way. I mean, this is probably less than a month. And actually, they say maybe a week or 2. So it's not a long time. But Allah knows how she felt in this week or 2 with no child. So number 1, obey Allah. Number 2, have faith in His promise. And especially at time of difficulty, have faith. وَعْدَ اللَّهِ حَقٌّ. This is going to happen. And when Allah tell me, لَا تَخَافِي لَا تَحْزَنِي, when Allah tell me, don't be sad, don't be afraid, I should feel not sad and not afraid. 3, I mean, there's so many, but this is what Allah is bringing in my mind right now. Planning. Planning in the most difficult time. You still have to plan. Yes, you have faith in Allah. Yes, you rely on Him. Yes, you know He will fill His promise. But He wanted me to act. And what was her plan? What was the mother of Musa's plan? When she sent the sister. She sent the sister, that's a plan. She sent the sister to follow him. So she knows where is he going. And then the sister, we don't know if the mother told her. Of course, Allah told them indirectly. But there was a plan. Because he didn't come back right away. Then he go, and Allah did not let him breastfeed. But the sister said, I know a woman. And Allah knows how she said it and the way they believed her. Right? And Allah promised is going to happen, it's going to come back. And the most important to me message of this page, أكثرهم لا يعلمون. Majority of people, very hard for them to know this, number 1. Number 2, to believe it. And number 3, to apply it. That the promise, and when I was reading this, an ayah in Surah An-Nur came to my mind. And Allah said this ayah, it's beautiful. He said, وَعْدَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنكُمْ وعملوا الصالحات ليستخلفنهم في الأرض كما استخلف الذين من قبلهم وليمكنن لهم دينهم الذي ارتضى لهم يعبدونني ولا يشركون بي شيئا. Allah said this in Surah An-Nur. وعد Allah, promise. ومن أصدق من الله قيلا. Who is more truthful than Allah when He say? Who's more fulfilling His promise than Allah? And Allah promised the believer. And He said, الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات منكم. The true believer. Because He said, among you, not all of you. لَيَسْتَخْلِفَنَّهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ. He will make them His steward on this earth. One promise. وَلَيُمَكِّنَنَّ لَهُمْ دِينَهُمُ الَّذِي ارْتَضَى لَهُمْ. And He is going to give victory to this deen. The deen that He loved. يَعْبُدُونَنِي وَلَا يُشْرِكُونَ بِي شَيْئًا. And they will worship me and they will not associate anything with me. That's the promise of Allah. This is what I need to live these days when I see where are we Muslims and what's happening to us. Muslim, you look at any Muslim country and see what's happening. And you say, Ya Allah, mata nasrullah. When is the victory of Allah is going to come? Immediately this should come to me. وَعَدَ اللَّهِ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ مِنْكُمْ. I need to fulfill the first part of the covenant, of the promise. You know what I'm saying? So the teacher tell the student, you study 5 hours a day, you will get 100 in the test. And this is a teacher, not a human being, right? So if the student study 4 hours a day and he got 90, what are you going to say? You did not fulfill the 5 hours. So the first thing when I say, look at us Muslims these days, what is happening? Didn't Allah said this is the deen He loves? My immediate answer will say, did I fulfill the first part? The first part. So wa'adullah, the promise of Allah, it is going to happen. I need to have the belief, unshakable, whatever I see, and then I have to work for this. Now Moses grew up. Now the test, now starts Musa's test. So he was tested like a baby, but he probably doesn't remember it. But this is a huge test. You take him from his mother. Now he grew up, and Allah used the same words with one addition only He used for Sayyidina Yusuf. And He said, وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ وَاسْتَوَى آتَيْنَاهُ حُكْمًا وَعِلْمًا وَكَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. This is the next page, like third page of Surah Al-Qasas. So still, He says, when he became strong, healthy, and Sayyidina Musa was very strong. This is one of his characters and one of the bounties Allah gave him. Strength, I'm talking about strength in body strength. وَلَمَّا بَلَغَ أَشُدَّهُ وَاسْتَوَى. This is the addition from the difference from Sayyidina Yusuf. وَاسْتَوَى. He became very wise and has a good judgment. Scholars tells you he was probably between the age of marriage, maximum 40. They didn't know exactly the age. But they say when Allah described this, when they say someone became healthy and strong, this is probably the age of marriage, up to about 34. And when He said wastawa, meaning he became wise, have a good judgment, that's probably 40. 40. So what happened? Now he grew up. He's not a prophet yet, remember. He's not a prophet yet. He grew up in, where did he grow up? He grew up in the house of Pharaoh. They used to call him son of Pharaoh. Subhanallah. Son of Pharaoh. That's how they used to call him in the city. Now you need to remember who was Pharaoh. The Pharaoh was not like just a multi-millionaire or just a governor. Pharaoh was tyrant, was enough. He says, "Ana rabbukum al-a'la." I am your Lord. Has all the treasures and all the wealth and all the power. So he starts having this disagreement with Pharaoh. He wasn't comfortable with the fact that Pharaoh says, I am your Lord, but he's not a Nabi yet. So he used to go to the city, but he hides. He goes in time where there is not much people in the road. So they say, this ayah, وَدَخَلَ مَدِينَةَ عَلَى حِينِ غَفْلَةٍ مِّنْ أَهْلِهَا. Now the story. Now he's a young man, right? Strong, beautiful young man. So he was walking in the street. Story. And they say he was either during the day where the heat is max, so people all are sleeping, or it's through the night. Because Allah says, وَدَخَلَ عَلَى حِينِ غَفْلَةٍ, when people didn't pay attention to him. So probably they were busy sleeping, or they were probably sleeping or in their home. So what happens? Number one test now as an adult. So he comes in. As he was walking, there's two men fighting. Right? One is Christian and one is from Bani Israel, children of Israel. Two people fighting, right? The one from Bani Israel, meaning his group, his family, his country, his clan, said, help me. What did Musa do? They didn't punch him. Allah said, فَوَكَزَهُ مُوسَى فَقَضَى عَلَيْهِ. Wakaz is when you make a fist and you push the breast. It's not the face. It's you push the breast, meaning he's actually pushing the man because they were fighting. So Musa just pushed. You know when you say, normally we do this. We push people so they don't get together. So he just pushed him. What happened? Exactly. The man fell on the floor, dead. Tells you how strong was Sayyidina Musa. That's why this is one of his characters. He was very strong physically. Now, so here you are. You're not a Nabi, you're not a prophet, you're still an ordinary man, but you're a good man. You're a good human being. And you just killed the person. Right? Look at the next two ayat, what Allah teaches me and you when I make a mistake. how should I react? Major mistake or a minor mistake, right? First thing he said, Sayyidina Musa, this is one after the other. قال هذا من عمل الشيطان. This is shaitan is coming to me. First thing, he did not say, I didn't mean it. It was an accident. I just pushed him, right? I think he fell. You know, all the excuses we do. Number one, acknowledged this is something from shaitan. إنه عدو مضل. إنه عدو مبين. He is a clear enemy. Number one, he's talking to himself. Number two, what did he say? And this tells you the special character of Sayyidina Musa. قال ربي إني ظلمت نفسي فاغفر لي إنك أنت الغفور الرحيم. Immediately. Talk to Allah, not people. This is in public. Immediately with Allah. Ya Allah, I did wrong. I did wrong to myself. Please forgive me. You are all forgiving. So the first time, any time I make a mistake, a sin, small or big, this is killing, this is major. Any mistake. First thing I learned from here is what? Shaitan Shaitan overtook me. I acknowledge it. And immediately I turn to him, to whom? Number one, to Allah. And I say, Ya Allah, I did wrong. There is no need to have defense. I did wrong. Now look at the third one, which I loved because this was repeated twice in the surah. Next week, if Allah give us life, next time we meet, we're going to talk about when he became a prophet. He said, ربي إني قال ربي بما أنعمت علي فلن أكون ظهيرا للمجرمين. He said, Ya Allah, strength is a ni'mah and you gave it to me. I will never use it for your disobedience. Immediately. بما أنعمت علي. What was, and the scholar says, what is the ni'mah? What's the favor in this position, in this situation? It's the strength. Because he immediately came to his mind that strength is a ni'mah. It's not something nobody wants. Everyone wants to be strong. However, I should not use it in the disobedience of Allah. So look at me and you. And if I start writing a list of the ni'mah, and how many of these ni'mah is blessings. How many of these blessings I use it not in the way pleasing to Allah? And he immediately says, this is a ni'mah, I am not going to do it. Now, what does Allah usually does to us when we make promises? I am going to be praying Fajr on time. I'm going to be doing tahajjud from today. What he normally does to us. When you make promises, and we do a lot of promises, he tests us right away. Have you seen this? So the day you say, tomorrow I'm going for tahajjud, you don't go to bed till 2 o'clock. The day you say, tomorrow I am fasting, it's Muharram, it's the sacred month, you don't wake up for suhoor. He just made a promise, Ya Allah, he actually made the promise by the grace, by the ni'mah, by the bounty you gave me. The strength, I will not use it for disobedience. Immediately. Same scenario happened again in front of him. And the same man, La ilaha illallah, the same man, read the story, read it. And the same man, فَإِذَا الَّذِي اسْتَنصَرَهُ بِالْأَمْسِ يَسْتَصْرِخُ, the one who called him the other day, call him again. Meaning, come and help me. So this man looks like he got in fights very frequent. Immediately now, you learned from mistakes. And you asked Allah to protect you, and Allah responded. Look how Allah responded to your dua, to his dua. Because Allah right away, what did he said? He looked at the man and says, you are a man who's luring me always. So immediately, he know that what the man is asking him is not pleasing to Allah. One. But Sayyidina Musa was a very soft-hearted. And this is his person calling him. He was about, when you say, you know what, but she needs me. And I'm going to do it only this time. So he was about, because that's how Allah says, وَلَمَّا أَن. He was about to hit the man again. Then the man said to him, the man who he was to want to kill, you want to kill me again? You want to kill another person? What is this, Musa? That's exactly how Allah said. What is this? You don't want to be a good man. You don't want to be from the righteous. You want to be a tyrant. Who made that man say this word? Allah. Now, why this man said that word? Why? This is how Allah responds to your dua. Sometimes we don't pay attention to these things. This is how Allah operates. He just made a dua that, Ya Allah, please forgive me. And I really don't want to do this again. Allah knows that he's sincere. He made the dua. He called Allah by His name. He called Allah by the ni'mah. Because the moment you acknowledge the ni'mah of Allah, that means you're grateful. And Allah loves those who are grateful. How did Allah respond? Saved him last minute. Saved him last minute. So he was very close to do it again. He didn't do it. Next, look at the story. He's not a prophet yet. A man came running to him, Musa. وجاء رجل من أقصى المدينة. A man came. He was, one of the scholars says, he was the believer among the people of Fir'aun. The people of Fir'aun, almost most of them were non-believers. There were very few believers, but they were hidden. They did not show it because out of fear from Fir'aun. So this man ran to Musa and says, Musa, get out. They are plotting to kill you. Leave. I am telling you an advice. This ayah, literally, when you read the commentary, sometimes they put, I can't tell you how many benefits you get from this ayah. So this is what he said. A man came to Sayyidina Musa. He said, I heard them plotting to kill you. Leave. I am telling you the truth. I am advising you. Scholars says, number one, it is allowed to give an advice to someone, even if during the advice you are backbiting or you are spreading a secret. If you are saving life or you are saving or you're preventing harm. Because that's what the man said. So number one. Number two, when Allah wants to save you, He will send you someone, something you read, something you hear, somebody tells you something. But to get to this point, remember the one before, because this is all a story. Your relationship with Allah and how you make the dua. So Sayyidina Musa, what did he do? He left Egypt with nothing. No animal, no mount. He walked. As he was leaving, what did he say? قال رب نجني من القوم الظالمين. First thing, Ya Allah, save me. He just told him, they are killing you. They plot to kill you. So the first thing is, when you are in difficulty, when I am in difficulty, first thing, dua. 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 Turn to Allah and say it in your word. He didn't make a special dua. نجني من القوم الظالمين. Save me, Allah. Save me from the wrongdoer. One, that's not the only dua. Now he's in the middle of the desert. He left Egypt. And where did he go? To the area Madian. Madian is what is Jordan right now. There's a huge desert between them, between Egypt and Jordan, if you know the geography. So he walked. Some says he walked 8 days. Subhanallah. As he was walking in the desert, what is the dua he made? So you are walking in the desert. We're not in desert. We are in St. Louis. It's all green. The GPS is not working. And you're in an area you have never been before. So you basically got lost. What is a dua? This is what you learn from the Quran. عسى ربي أن يهديني سواء السبيل. He was walking to Madian. He was walking to Jordan. And he says, Allah, please guide me to the right path. And this is actually one of the dua you say it for yourself spiritually. Guide me to the right path. عسى ربي أن يهديني سواء السبيل. So, Ya Allah, find me. Immediately what happened? And this is here where women are mentioned in the Quran in a beautiful way. This is, they say, one of the most beautiful description of women who are not, we don't know their name, they are not Sayyidah Maryam, but look how they were described with the beautiful character of a woman, which is haya, bashfulness, humbleness, but also smart. Very smart. And I'm gonna now when I share the story, you will know where is the smart. So as he was walking, made the dua, Allah made him see a small water, like a lake, small place. He saw a lot of people. I mean, you're in the middle of a desert, so a lot of people are fighting for the water. He came close, because then he said, I'm in the right path. There's people here. So he came and he see a lot of men on the water. And then he looked and he saw two women far away. That's exactly what Allah says. ولما ورد ماء مدين وجد عليه أمة من الناس يسقون. Ummah is a huge amount of people. They are all bringing water. ووجد من دونهم امرأتين. But he noticed two women standing far. Now, etiquettes. Actually, Surah Al-Qasas, this part, you learn etiquettes. Now, how a man help a woman. This is my daily life. This is my daily life. وجد من دونهم امرأتين. He looked and he saw two women far away. Now, ما خطبكما? How can I help? Why? ما خطبكما is what's going on. Why you are not with the people getting water? Obviously, you're there for water because they had their containers with them. Now, woman, how should we behave? قالتا لا نسقي حتى يصدر الرعاء. We are not going to get close till all these men walk away. I'm not going to say, well, you know what, it doesn't matter. Men and women are the same these days. We're going to go there. I need the water. My father is old. Don't tell me. And when you obey, in this story of Sayyidina Musa, repeatedly, you obey Allah, Allah give it to you right away. So these women followed the rules of Allah, right? Who's their father? Sayyidina Shu'aib. So they're the daughters of a Nabi, but there is no mention of the Nabi and no mention of the names. This is when you read the commentary. So what did they say? I am not going to go in all this crowd with the men. We are not going to get the water till the men leave. And when you read and they say this is daily thing, and they used to take an hour or two waiting. Because how we know this is when they went back to the father. What did he say? He didn't say anything. فَسَقَى لَهُمَا. He took the two containers, filled it with water, and gave it to them. When he did that, is that a good gesture? Is that a good job? Is that a good thing to do? Will Allah reward me? Should I say, you know what? I am really a nice person. I am so courteous. People don't even ask me. لا تزكوا أنفسكم. What did he say? He went back, stayed under a shade of a tree. And this is a dua, you always have to say it for yourself. قال ربي. Same dua before. Remember the dua before? قال ربي إني لما أنزلت إلي من خير فقير. He said, Ya Allah, for all the bounties you gave me, I am basically poor. Poor, not poor wealth. Poor spiritually, poor in need. Meaning, I didn't do this because it is me. You made me do it. You made me see these women. You put in my heart the desire to help. And you put in my heart the feeling it is not me. إِنِّي لِمَا أَنزَلْتَ إِلَيَّ مِنْ خَيْرٍ فَقِيرٍ. Immediately, Allah saved him. لا إله إلا الله. This is the story of Sayyidina Musa. فَجَاءَتْهُ إِحْدَاهُمَا تَمْشِي عَلَى اسْتِحْيَاءٍ. One of them came back right away and walking very humble and bashful. Subhanallah. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله
أشهد أن محمدا رسول 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 الله
حي على الصلاة
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله
حي على الصلاة
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله
حي على الفلاح
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله
حي على الفلاح
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله
الله أكبر
الله أكبر الله أكبر
لا إله إلا الله
لا إله إلا الله وصل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم So the last part, alhamdulillah, Allah put barakah in the time and we still have about 5 minutes. So the woman came. This is exactly what Allah said. فَجَاءَتْهُ إِحْدَاهُمَا تَمْشِي عَلَى اسْتِحْيَاءٍ. One of the two women, because they were two sisters, came walking bashfulness, humble, with humbleness. فقالت إن أبي يدعوك. My father is inviting you. ليجزيك أجر ما سقيت لنا. To reward you for the good gesture you did, the water that you brought to us. Because what happens actually when they got the water back to Sayyidina Shu'aib, he said, what happens this time? You came very quickly. Because normally they stay at least an hour or two. They say, we found this very nice young man who did it for us. Father immediately says, call him. I want to meet him. Who is that man? فلما جاءه, so Sayyidina Musa came to Sayyidina Shu'aib. So Allah made this prophet, he's not a prophet yet. He made him meet already a prophet, Sayyidina Shu'aib. وقص عليه القصص, and he told him all the stories that he went through. قال لا تخف. Don't worry. نجوت من القوم الظالمين. Allah saved you from the people who does wrongdoing. Same word he said when he left. Ya Allah, save me from the wrongdoers. He said, don't worry, Allah saved you. Now the daughter. The daughter liked him. And we don't know which one. They liked him. Why? Strong, trustworthy, nice, gentleman in these days. قالت يا أبت استأجره. Oh my father, let him work for us. It's an indirect way. Right? قالت, and then she gave why? خير من استأجرت القوي الأمين. The best person. You hire strong. Remember, strength is one of the landmark of Sayyidina Musa, and he's trustworthy. The father right away, what did he do? And these days, if some father does this, people will start saying, what? literally, so this is the words of Allah. This is in our Quran. قال إني أريد أن أنكحك إحدى ابنتين. I want to take you as my son-in-law. You choose which one you want to marry. Can you imagine this these days? This is in the Quran. We read it every day, every month, every Ramadan. It depends how much we read the Quran. إني أريد أن أنكحك إحدى ابنتين. But it's not going to be free. You earn. This is how Allah is teaching us. You earn what you get. على أن تأجرني 8 حجج. You will work for me for 8 years. 8 years. And Allah used the word حجج here. حجة. And it is here. فإن أتممت 10 فمن عندك. And if you want to be generous, make it 10. ستجدني إن شاء فإن أتممت 10 فمن عندك وما أريد أن أشق عليك. I don't want to make it too hard. So 8 or 10. ستجدني إن شاء الله من الصالحين. You will see that I'm going to treat you very well. Now, what is this story? He left. Now remember this. He left Egypt, nothing, scared, alone, in the middle of the desert, nothing except the dua. Ya Allah, guide me to the right path. Immediately, Allah bring the water, bring the 2 ladies, and then Allah put in his heart to help them. This is all reasons for him to end up married, living in the house of a prophet for 8 years. قال ذلك بيني وبينك. He accepted the offer. What an offer. Work and a wife in a house of a Nabi. أيما الأجلين قضيت فلا عدوان علي. He said, whichever I finish early, 8 or 10 years, I am not going to be doing anything wrong. والله على ما نقول وكيل. And Allah is our witness in what we have agreed upon. This was the marriage contract. That was the marriage contract. And here scholars, again, a lot of lessons. But number 1, they say, man, a father, if he sees the right husband to his wife, absolutely, it's a sunnah to ask that man to marry his daughter. And this is one of the things we changed these days. We find it very uncomfortable. And this is Sayyidina Shu'aib. This is a Nabi of Allah. Now, number 2, the woman, be grateful to whosoever does a good deed to you. Whether it's a man, let it be a man, or let it be a woman. But in a man, there's a different way of saying things. Why did Allah says, جاءته إحداهما تمشي على استحياء? Only time in the Quran a woman is being described in this way. Walking, but walking with haya. And what does that mean? She talked to him. She talked to him. And that's why scholar says you can talk to a man. It's not like you cannot. This is the daughter of the Nabi. But how do you talk? And what's the word? Modesty. And Abi yad'uka. My father is not me. Let's go out. My father is asking you. How did the father knew? They told him. See how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I mean, the story of Sayyidina Musa, this is not yet a Nabi. When he comes to Nabi, there's one way more. But this is part end. Once he finished the 8 years with Sayyidina Shu'aib, he left. Took his family now. Now he has a family and he left. And now next time we meet, inshallah, he's going to be the Nabi. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided to give him the message. But remember how much he went through to get to the message. And that's why it's one of the comfort measures that Allah gave to Sayyidina Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam. He reminded him always of the story of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us of those who learn from the stories of the Quran and make us follow what he is showing us and make us learn and practice what we learn. جزاكم الله خيرا. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. صلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه تسليما كثيرا. الحمد لله. لك البركة and the time. يا ربي لك الحمد. Next Tuesday, but it's not going to be me. It's going to be Suzanne, Sister Suzanne.